The silence before the scream. It was a crisp, quiet morning in Chelmsford, England, a neighborhood wrapped in its usual calm, but the peace was shattered by a sudden eruption of shouting from inside a small public housing complex. The commotion came from Jack Sepple's apartment, a young man known to neighbors yet understood by few. Just as quickly as it started, the shouting ceased, leaving behind an unsettling silence that seemed to carry a sense of foreboding. Hours later, police arrived at the scene and stepped into a sight that even the most experienced officers would find hard to forget. Inside the modest apartment was the lifeless body of 19-year-old Ashley Wadsworth, a Canadian who had traveled thousands of miles in pursuit of love. What could lead someone so full of life to such a tragic end? And who was Jack Sepple, the man she believed would be her future? As investigators began their work, questions loomed. What happened behind those closed doors? Could this tragedy have been prevented? The answers would soon uncover not only the dark reality of Ashley's relationship, but a harrowing tale of control, obsession, and the catastrophic consequences of love placed in the wrong hands. A journey across oceans. Ashley Wadsworth was no ordinary teenager. Growing up in Vernon, British Columbia, she had a smile that could light up a room and an adventurous spirit that drew people to her. Her family, a close-knit group of over 50 relatives, was her everything. Even after her parents' divorce, Ashley remained deeply connected to her mother, sister Haley, and her adored niece Paisley. Her life seemed to be on a clear path to happiness. But in 2015, everything changed when she met Jack Sepple online. What began as a harmless friendship between a 12-year-old girl and a 15-year-old boy soon deepened. Jack showered Ashley with constant messages, gifts, and promises of a future together. For Ashley, it felt like a fairy tale, though there were hidden warning signs that she couldn't see. By November 2021, Ashley, now 19, had saved enough money to fulfill what she believed was her destiny. Despite her family's concerns about Jack's increasingly controlling nature, she was determined to visit him in England. With excitement in her heart, she boarded a plane on November 12th, holding a 6-month tourist visa and dreams of building a future with the man she loved. At first, everything seemed perfect. Jack greeted her warmly at Gatwick Airport, and the two settled into his modest apartment in Chelmsford. Ashley's social media was soon filled with happy pictures, captions of love, and updates about their new puppy, Winston. To the outside world, it was the ideal love story. But behind the smile-filled posts, cracks began to appear. Jack's affection shifted to suffocating control. He discouraged Ashley from meeting new people, forbade her from attending church, and grew irritable over the smallest things. Ashley, still hopeful, stayed quiet about the bruises and the growing tension, even as her family begged her to come home. Ashley's silence, however, could not hold forever. The mask begins to slip. As the weeks passed, the person Ashley had fallen in love with slowly faded away. Jack, once the charming confidant she knew online, began to show his true colors. It started with small things, a sharp remark, a dismissive comment, but soon his jealousy and possessiveness escalated into full control. He demanded to know where Ashley was at all times, who she was speaking to, and what she was doing. Her once beloved outdoor activities became subject to Jack's approval. Neighbors later recalled how Ashley seemed increasingly isolated, her once vibrant personality fading under his watchful eye. The emotional control quickly turned physical. Jack's temper flared without warning, and Ashley became the target. In a text to his mother, Jack admitted to hitting Ashley in a jealous rage. Yet Ashley kept up appearances, posting happy photos on social media and assuring her family she was fine. But in private, she documented bruises and confided in her sister, Haley. Haley grew more concerned as Ashley's situation worsened. She begged Ashley to return home, even arranging a flight, but Ashley hesitated. She still believed in the boy she loved, hoping her love and patience could make him change. By late December 2021, the situation became even more alarming when Jack attempted suicide by overdosing on medication. Ashley, feeling guilt and fear, called an ambulance and stayed by his side, now acting as his caregiver. She was responsible for managing his medication, kept in a locked box provided by a nurse. Outwardly, Ashley appeared trapped. The missionaries she had secretly contacted noticed the shift, and Ashley admitted Jack's controlling nature, but she still clung to the hope that things would improve. "I know I deserve better," she told them, "but I just want to make him happy." On January 9, 2022, Jack celebrated his 23rd birthday, but behind the smiles, Ashley could sense the storm building. Jack's paranoia and anger were growing, and it was only a matter of time before it all exploded. A cry for help. The morning of February 1, 2022, started like any other in the modest Chelmsford apartment Ashley shared with Jack. But by mid-morning, the fragile peace between them shattered. Jack, consumed by jealousy and paranoia, accused Ashley of betraying him. He demanded to see her phone and social media accounts, convinced she was hiding something. Ashley tried to calm him down, but her reassurance only fueled his rage. Neighbors later recalled hearing her desperate screams through the thin walls, a sound that shattered the calm of the morning. Moments later, Ashley appeared at a neighbor's door, barefoot, crying and clutching a bleeding hand, her face a picture of distress. Between sobs, she explained how Jack had discovered a photo on her phone, an image of a naked woman, which Jack wrongly assumed was someone Ashley knew. In a fit of fury, he smashed her phone and violently threw their puppy, Winston, against the wall. Despite her fear, Ashley begged the neighbor not to call the police. The neighbor, reluctant but concerned, suggested Ashley go to a medical appointment to avoid returning to Jack. But Ashley refused, her voice trembling as she insisted, "I'll be fine." She returned to the apartment where Jack was waiting. Not long after, another neighbor dropped off a misdelivered package for Jack. When he opened the door, he barely acknowledged her, his expression cold. Inside, Ashley was on the phone with her family in Canada. It was midnight in Vernon, but her mother and sister picked up right away. Ashley confided in them about the escalating violence, telling them she wanted to come home. Alarmed, her family immediately booked her a flight for February 3rd. They begged her to leave right away, but Ashley, trying to hold on to some semblance of hope, promised she could wait 2 more days. As the hours passed, Ashley sent urgent messages to friends and missionaries in Chelmsford, pleading for help. "It's an emergency," she wrote. But the messages failed to send. Between 12:38 p.m. and 12:45 p.m., Jack's fury escalated into something far darker: the final betrayal. Between 12:45 p.m. and the arrival of the police, the quiet apartment in Chelmsford became the scene of unimaginable violence. Ashley Wadsworth, a young woman who had traveled thousands of miles for love, found herself betrayed in the most horrific way. Jack Sepple's anger exploded in brutality. First, he strangled Ashley until she could no longer fight back. But he didn't stop there. Grabbing a kitchen knife, he stabbed her more than 90 times in her chest and abdomen, unleashing his fury in a violent frenzy. When it was over, Jack didn't try to escape or hide. Instead, he coldly changed his social media profile picture to one of him and Ashley, captioning it, "Always mine." He filmed a chilling video for Ashley's sister, Haley, confessing to the crime. Sitting beside Ashley's lifeless body, he said, "I couldn't let her go," as if trying to justify his actions. But Jack never sent the video. Instead, he inflicted superficial wounds on himself, likely to stage the scene as self-defense. With blood on his hands, he sat and played video games, seemingly unaffected by the horror he had just caused. Meanwhile, the outside world began to sense something was wrong. In Vernon, Canada, Ashley's family woke to frantic, unanswered messages from her. Filled with pleas for help, they were a stark contrast to her usual cheerful updates. Haley, already fearing the worst, felt her sister was in danger. The family contacted a friend in Chelmsford, urging him to check on Ashley. When the friend arrived at Jack's apartment, there was no answer. Sensing something was terribly wrong, he called the police. By 4:13 p.m., officers entered the apartment and found Ashley's body. Jack, covered in blood, calmly confessed to the crime, adding a chilling layer of horror. He was arrested on the spot, and Ashley became yet another tragic victim of domestic violence. The chilling investigation. As Jack Sepple was led away from the blood-stained apartment in handcuffs, detectives began piecing together the chilling events that led to Ashley Wadsworth's brutal murder. What had already been a horrific case grew even more unsettling as Jack's past was revealed. Forensic teams scoured the scene, finding blood splattered across the walls, a grim testament to the violence that had taken place. The knife, still covered in blood, was discarded in the kitchen, and Ashley's smashed phone was recovered, offering clues to her final moments. Text messages, timestamps, and witness statements helped construct a timeline of escalating abuse that culminated in tragedy. Investigators also uncovered Jack's confession video, which would later send shockwaves through the courtroom. In it, Jack spoke about his love for Ashley while her lifeless body lay beside him. His detached tone revealed a man completely devoid of remorse. Though the video was never sent, it left no doubt about his guilt. As the investigation continued, Jack's violent history came to light. At age 15, he had already been issued restraining orders for posting explicit photos of an ex-girlfriend. Over time, his behavior escalated, hacking social media accounts, physically assaulting former partners, and even locking a woman in his home and choking her when she tried to leave. Many charges were dropped due to victims' reluctance to testify, but his history was a glaring warning sign that had gone unnoticed by Ashley and her family. Ashley's family, desperate for answers, was horrified to learn about Jack's violent past. Her father, Kenneth, expressed disbelief at how Jack's history had been hidden. Despite searching for warning signs before Ashley's trip, they had found nothing alarming. They later discovered Clare's Law, a UK policy that allows people to request information about a partner's criminal record. But it was too late. Had they known, they could have acted before Ashley's tragic visit to Chelmsford. In the days following the murder, Ashley's family worked tirelessly to bring her body home. A crowdfunding campaign raised the money to repatriate her remains to Canada, garnering support from around the world. The trial and sentencing. By the time Jack Sepple's trial began in September 2022, the evidence against him was irrefutable. The prosecution laid out a case that revealed the chilling details of Ashley Wadsworth's murder and the years of abuse leading up to it. Jack's violent history, his disturbing confession video, and the brutal nature of his actions left no doubt. Ashley's family traveled from Canada to attend the trial. In the courtroom, they listened in horror as the prosecutor recounted the events of February 1st, 2022. The graphic descriptions of the 90 stab wounds, strangulation, and how Jack methodically staged the aftermath shocked everyone. Jack pled guilty to murder, sparing Ashley's family the agony of a prolonged trial. His cold indifference throughout the proceedings was unsettling, as if the severity of his crime had never fully sunk in. During sentencing, the judge condemned Jack's actions as brutal, cowardly, and calculated. He received a life sentence with a minimum of 23 years and 6 months before he could be considered for parole. While this was a small measure of justice for Ashley's parents, it could never fill the void left by her death. Ashley's mother, Christy, fought tears as she addressed the court, describing her vibrant, loving daughter taken too soon. "This is a nightmare we will never wake up from," she said. Haley, her sister, mourned the loss of a sibling and best friend. Aftermath and broader implications. In the aftermath of Ashley Wadsworth's tragic murder, her family was left grappling not only with their profound grief, but also with the haunting questions that followed. How could someone so full of life and promise fall victim to such a horrific fate? More importantly, what could be done to prevent similar tragedies? Ashley's parents, Christy and Kenneth, became vocal advocates for raising awareness about domestic violence. They shared Ashley's story publicly, hoping it would serve as a warning to others. Kenneth, in particular, expressed his shock that Jack Sepple's violent past had gone unnoticed. He pointed to Clare's Law, a UK domestic abuse disclosure scheme, as a tool that could have potentially saved Ashley's life, if they had known about it in time. Named after Claire Wood, a woman murdered by her partner, Clare's Law allows people to request information about a partner's criminal history. Police can also proactively disclose such information if they believe someone is at risk. Unfortunately, the process can be slow, and disclosure is not guaranteed. For Ashley's family, this realization came too late. According to Women's Aid, a woman is killed by a male partner or ex-partner in England and Wales every 4 days. This sobering statistic is mirrored worldwide, underscoring the urgent need for better intervention systems and public awareness. Her funeral, held on February 23, 2022, was live-streamed so her extensive network of family and friends could participate. Ashley was remembered as a vibrant, adventurous soul who brought joy to everyone she met. 1 year after her death, Ashley's sister, Haley, shared in an interview that she still felt Ashley's presence. She described unexplainable occurrences at home doors opening, lights flickering as signs from her sister, providing a bittersweet comfort to the grieving family. For Ashley's family, the fight continues. They hope sharing her story will save others from the same fate. In Christy's words, if even one person can be spared this pain, then Ashley's life will have meant something far greater. Conclusion: a legacy of awareness and change. Ashley Wadsworth's story is one of profound loss, but it also serves as a powerful call to action. Her life, tragically cut short by someone she trusted, has become a symbol of the urgent need to confront domestic violence and the systems that enable it. Through her family's pain and advocacy, Ashley's legacy now extends beyond the tragedy, inspiring hope and serving as a warning. This case underscores the importance of recognizing the early warning signs of abusive relationships. Jack Sepple's violent history was a glaring red flag, but Ashley and her family were left unaware, making them vulnerable. This lack of awareness is not unique to Ashley's story. It's a systemic issue that continues to put countless lives at risk. The chilling details of her murder, 90 stab wounds, confession video, and Jack's cold indifference serve as haunting reminders of how unchecked abuse can escalate into violence. However, it is the strength and resilience of Ashley's family that leaves the deepest impact. Despite their unimaginable grief, they have turned their tragedy into a mission to educate, advocate, and prevent similar pain for others. Ashley was more than just a victim. She was a vibrant young woman with dreams of adventure and love. Her memory lives on in the hearts of those who knew her and in the countless others touched by her story. Her family's courage in sharing it ensures Ashley's life continues to inspire change. This tragedy also raises essential questions. How can we better protect those at risk? How do we identify and stop dangerous individuals like Jack before it's too late? And, most importantly, how do we create a world where stories like Ashley's no longer happen? As we reflect on Ashley's life, let's honor her memory by committing to awareness, education, and action. Her story may have ended too soon, but its impact can echo for years to come, saving lives and driving change. Every life lost to domestic violence is one too many, and Ashley's story reminds us that we all have a role in stopping it. If you or someone you know is experiencing abuse, please seek help. Resources are available, and no one should face these struggles alone. Together, we can ensure Ashley's story inspires not just sorrow, but transformation.